Yo, sorry to keep you waiting, guys. And I just wanted to actually apologise about my behaviour yesterday and about bailing on the free-for-all streams today. But I thought I'd try and make it up to you guys and host us some 1v1 games today. So, and just as suspected, I've had a much easier time actually getting this underway today. We've got Carnage spawning. Oh, I've actually got our players back to front, haven't I? Yeah. Carnage spawning on the bottom side. Sorry, that's just in accordance with how I set up the scores according to the stream. So I've got to stick to that. Anyway, yeah, Carnage player number 1 today. Player 2 today, I should actually say. The yellow Celt spawning on the bottom side. And we got equal footing to start with by the look of it. So I think the guys will be happy with this because it's a very conventional map. So it's a very good map to really gauge where you're at. There's no water, but there's no funny landmarks like, say, Sheltered Pass that really favour people that like turtling, for instance. It's just a very good standard map. Bit of a small rush distance to it. So it's pretty much exactly what you want. This or Ghost Lake to really have a nice back and forth between two extremely strong players. I haven't actually introduced Vahuva yet, so I'm going to do that now. So we've got, as our purple Greek player, spawning on the top side, we've got Vahuva, and fairly aggressive, fairly optimistic hunt here from Vahuva. It's probably the first one he's seen. I don't even know if he's realised he's got that in his vision yet. But this is a very, greedy spot to put this. Carnage opening for the starting barracks. Only a single storehouse for Vahuva. Going for a storehouse barracks. And a house as well. Forcing it out with 2 villagers though, so I like that. It's going to be out pretty quickly. Carnage is going to spot this, and I think he's probably going to try and pinch one of these sheep. No, he's going to leave it alone. Oh, yeah, no, he's going to do a loop around. See if he can. But the village is already there, and it's actually going to attack the sheep rather than just trying to rally them around to this side here where they're a little bit more safe from incoming spears, because Vahuva by now seeing the barracks, so no doubt he's going to know that Carnage is going to be willing to bust a move very shortly. But in saying that, his own starting spearman, just a little bit later than Carnage's first pair, but not that much later. With defender's advantage, he might even be able to hold this. Although that's a bit unfortunate, getting attacked by the wolves the whole time you're taking that down, so Vahuva actually too low on health to actually finish off the wolves now, because truth be told, if you kite the wolves here while actually attacking them, then kill them first and then clear the hunt, you got the health to be able to do it. It's just that, yeah, when your scout's getting chipped away at like that, that sucks. Carnage taking his second storehouse and a second barracks. So, Carnage is going to play a fairly aggressive Celt style right now. I wonder what he's going to do. I don't want to say he's taking a leaf out of my book because he's a much more experienced player than I am, and he pretty much invented aggressive play. Carnage is that old. You know, when they were making the source code for AOEO, Carnage was like, yeah man, I just played a game of Greeks last night. He figured out a way to do it. Anyway, 6v6 incoming. Age up from Vahuva. Carnage having committed to the second barracks. And he's going for the double spear, mass spear production at the moment. Let's see if he sustains this. He's actually cut villagers briefly. What are you doing right now, Carnage? He does have the spear mass though, so Vahuva is going to have to force out Hypaspis as quickly as he can. Possibly even look at getting on Toxotes to be able to deal with this, because Carnage can no doubt back this up with his own Age 2 and his own Long Swordsman as he produces those last couple of spears. He just needs to get towards 300 food to age up. Right now, Vahuva pushed off the hunt at a bit of a tough time for him. And saying that, I mean, he's already got the food banked to produce villagers, and the second hunt is actually the ideal location, really, for this town centre, as long as Carnage doesn't scout this. But he's going over to this other side, which is a bit unfortunate for him. He's not going to be able to get this pick, because if he did, it'd be then and there over. If Vhuva was trying to put the town centre here or here, easy snipe for Carnage. With this many spears, there's no military to speak of for Vhuva at the moment, so no defending anything. But he is going to get this out. A single Hypaspis wouldn't be able to defend that, but it'd slow them down. And now Carnage is going to age up. He's, yeah, going to be prepped to throw down his H2 town, so it already has a lot of production available to him through the two barracks. And he is going to try and take this fight here against these Hypers. So Vhuva doing what he can to kite Carnage's spears. But as soon as Carnage just cleans this up, he's going to have free reign of the village. Oh, so another Hypaspis does pop out in time. So Carnage has just enough to really break Vhuva's forces, but this isn't really going to force pullbacks or get any kills, I don't think. So Carnage is denied a little bit there, throwing away those early spears, but it does also thin out the hyper count, and now there's going to be lots more spears, and mixed with hypers, I imagine. What is Carnage doing? He's getting the town centre. Continuing just to mass up spears at this point. So I mean, he already has the map control, and he's pinning Vhuva into a spot where he's going to be wanting to just mass produce hypers, because they can cost effectively trade into the spears. And Vhuva, unfortunately, not going to be able to finish off the range, so he is going to be forced into just having the hypers here, and off a single barracks with the double spearman production at Carnage. It's actually really hard for Vhuva to really keep up in terms of his army production at the moment. So Carnage is going to get a really nice surround here. He's going to be able to kill all these hypers. So even though they are the counter unit, he's just not being able to produce enough to take the fight. Having to garrison 13 villagers, 14, so it's a bit of a big toll for his economy at the moment, and he is gathering a lot of food while all this is going on, but he's a little bit slow on getting this other production up. Carnage ramping up to his third barracks now. So really nice map control here from Carnage. Even though he's got the unit that's countered, like I've said, committing to that earlier production facility has meant that he's managed to deny his opponent a little bit. Vhuva is on 2 villages over Carnage, but it hasn't really amounted to a great deal. Carnage has been able to cost effectively trade spears with hypers and deny gathering from Vhuva. And each time he's getting a really good read of what Vhuva's intending to do behind this. The Celt player, obviously, really able to just defend on their barracks. They've got, I mean, really able to just get away with mass barracks style play. But the Greeks, things are a little bit more flexible for them, and they are also a little bit more scary for them in the start of the matchup. And the Greeks player, you know, the Celt player, you know, he's gonna opt for pretty much the same production. Whereas the Greek player can be a little bit more flexible with it. They've got both the hypers and the toxotes to pick from, so the Celt player is going to want to keep an eye on that. And Carnage definitely got good insight to Vhuva's production. Vhuva, in the meanwhile, hasn't really had much of a look, but like I say, you know, it wouldn't really tell him a lot. Carnage just thrown in the barracks, getting the upgrades as well. He's getting brewing first, which is good. He needs that health to be able to keep taking these fights. And he's also going to get a movement speed from Furor Celtica in a minute. In a couple of seconds, I should say. So these guys are going to bump up to 7.3 speed, so now he does have a movement speed advantage over the Greek, who's also added in Toxotes. So Vahuva selecting all this is going to drop back to 6 movement speed. Carnage's mass spears going to be moving at 7.3 movement speed, so they effectively have half a cavalry advantage over the Greek army at the moment. And of course, because Carnage has gone from the mass spears, there's been no reason for Vahuva to actually add in Sarasophroi. So he's not able to actually mount any form of raiding pressure himself with the composition that he's got. Because if he moves out with these guys, they're going to be too slow to chase. And if they overextend, they're dead. There's no real getting out of that, unless the Greek can manage to like parade push behind it. But if the Celt can defend at home and apply pressure on the map, it's really, really hard to deal with. Celt are a really, really nice early game trading civ because of their mobility, and as long as you're willing to, throw away the spears from time to time, but also not throw them away too heavily when you don't have to, you can get a lot of value out of them. And Carnage is actually going to do, as I said, try and take advantage of this little trade early on. Vahuva actually now going to have to try and retreat, because with Champ Spear, these guys have actually got a 50% multiplier against the building, so he's going to actually be able to snipe this town center if Vahuva can't react in time. And like I said, this is now a 6-speed army again because of the Toxotes, so the Hypaspis being 7 speed is inconsequential right now, and Vahuva loses his main town center to Carnage, being caught out with Carnage's really quick spearman. Quite a nice play there from Carnage. So with the spearman champ and the Furor Celtica, he's able to make an immense amount of value out of these spears, who really should be countered by this army. Like, in a head-on fight, spearmen are going to be hard countered by Hypaspis Toxotes, but as you saw, taking advantage of the mobility benefits of the Celts, Carnage is able to really put a huge dent in Vahuva's eco. He's going to be struggling to get his second town center back up now. He's not too far down in score at the moment, but his economy's a bit whack. There's no gold income at the moment for Vahuva, so he's not producing any military. Carnage would be probably getting prepped to actually start working on a serious army, in a sense, and trying to actually be able to rattle the Greek head on. He's even committed to the farms so early, and he's been able to do so and still keep this lead because he's just got so much value out of sniping that town center. And Vahuva has a small amount of army here to defend this, so the spears are going to back off. Vahuva trying to split his army up, but he's going to have to come in soon because Carnage is going to have towers up all throughout his base. It's going to be impossible for the Greek to actually try and take a trade, and especially because these spears, they only cost 40 food, and they're actually going to hit about 20 damage against buildings, so they're actually one of the most cost-effective units for sniping buildings in the early game, if not the most cost-effective once they get that champ upgrade, and possibly their H2 damage upgrade, which Carnage already has, I believe. Yeah, he definitely already has that. He's got the armor upgrade against the Hypaspis, but not against the Toxotes, so he's going to be careful to avoid that. Vahuva, in the meanwhile, is trying to flank around the back, but he's actually run into Carnage's scout here. I think he might have, just rallied those guys just up there, and good spot there for Carnage, having that scout tucked in that corner. It's meant that he's managed to keep himself securely behind this. And 46 to 66 villages, so Carnage has really opened up the worker difference now. He's managed to snipe a bunch of workers when they actually did that little trade there, and a couple of times before, over here and earlier on. And Vahuva now has that H2 town center, but there's a bit of a fight going on, and Carnage has the units to take the fight, but they're caught up in this awful choke, so he's only just now going to be able to surround Vahuva's Toxotes, and he just has enough for his army to clean this up. But Vahuva, a bit unfortunate to have left his army there. Mass Spear is bloody strong, guys. Carnage is working towards his age 3 now. Vahoover still stuck in age 2. 10 pop up at the moment. And Carnage only really has spears to defend at the moment, but he might look at doing the same thing again, where he might not be able to get the town center this time, but he can probably deny this gold or snipe a production facility. Vahoover is going to snipe a production facility or two, but once he gets in the middle of this base, there's that many towers, Carnage is going to be able to hold this. The age 3 is going to pop. Woad Raiders are going to come out. So Carnage is going to get repelled here. Vahoover has enough to be able to clean this up pretty easily, pretty quickly. Carnage is probably best off just trying to go for that gold mine if he could, but Vahoover is now going to try and deal the damage that he can before the Celt age 3 truly kicks in. There is a big mass of spears heading towards Vahoover's base now, but he does have some population in reserve to be able to mass up some units back at home behind this, because he really just needs a 50-50 of Toxotes Hyper like he's got back at home, and he can clean this up as long as it's there preemptively. But Carnage has the age 3 now, continuing just to mass spears and actually funnel them round, I think, is the idea. So we are entering a bit more of a base race type game, so Carnage forced to have to take a bit of a fight here because Vahoover has all those counter units. And he is going to actually try and go for the other town center, I think, is what the goal is there. But there's that many towers here in Carnage's base that Vahoover can't really push into him at the moment. He's going to get some good kills though. Towers are going to go down, farms, villages going to fall. So a lot of value there being made up for Vahoover. I think Carnage might have overestimated just how much value he was going to get in the end out of the spears. Either that or he's just messing with us today. Probably the second. And Vahoover, 68 vills to Carnage's... Oh, Carnage is down to 53 villages. So Carnage really quite low in terms of villager count at the moment, but he has got that age 3 town center advantage over Vahoover. He did lose an awful lot of villages there though. More spears from Carnage. And he's still just making spearmen. There's nothing else. He can take out his S, D and F keys. He doesn't need them, he just needs his A key so he can make villagers and spearmen. Anyway, he's found a little gap here. He's cut his way through and he's sniping the houses. Vahoover across the other side of the map, so he's got the slower comp like I mentioned. He has to do or die in a sense with this. He needs to be able to cost effectively trade with this before this town center goes down, and if he can, try and defend it. He's got the units here to defend. Let's see if he can, because Carnage, yep, is going to try and go for the town center, but be repelled. Vahoover has done everything right so far in playing the catch up with that. So Carnage's mass spear build, man, it's bloody fun to watch, and it's actually pretty hard to play against, but Vahoover for now seems to be doing everything right. Carnage is having to back off, come back home. He's got mass spears still. So let's see if let's see if it actually having an extra 10 pop worth of spears and a fortress is enough to defend against Hyper Toxotes. I mean, it shouldn't be able to, but Carnage is going to make this work. Either that, or he's just going to parade push. I mean, he's just going to mass his army up around alongside us. Vahoover is parade pushing everything across the map. There's, yeah, the last of his units being produced coming out. So Vahoover is going to have the entirety of his army in Carnage's base, but looks like Carnage is going to go for the snipe. He's got, what's he got here? 53 spears. A small number back at home, just to make sure he doesn't lose everything. Vahoover realizes what's going on though, so he's madly sending units back home just to prepare, because he needs to be able to defend this town center. And Vahoover trying for the base race, getting the age 3 now. He realizes that he's down a town center already, and Carnage is initiating a base trade. Thank you for the subscribe. I think that's what that was. Thank you for the subscription. Apologies, I just can't check it at the moment. But yeah, Vahoover forced into a little base trade here against Carnage. A town center down. He's gotten a lot of value out of this push, but Carnage has a lot of spears in his base still. He's down to only 30 spears here though. And Ooh, he's got his age 3 damage upgrade. He's going to be able to probably take this town center, but he's going to lose this army. Meanwhile, Vahoover going to try and take Carnage's town center. So we are, Vahoover throwing down the 3rd town center. Carnage only on 2, so Vahoover, despite losing that, despite killing Carnage's initial town center, still has this one to really go before he's actually ahead. But he's managed to clean up things back at home, so he's doing everything well right now. Carnage might have backed himself in the corner playing so spear heavy. He's going to have to play really heavy on the woads very shortly to be able to continue to do what he's been doing to the Greek player and pick them apart, because the spears just simply aren't going to have the value against the Toxotes and the Hypers once they get the champion as well. So the town center going down for Carnage. Already got that 2nd town center back up for Hoover. Thank you. Thank you for the... is that a sub? Anyway. Sorry guys. It's just a bit hard to try and track them while you're casting. Carnage down another town center. Vahoover got his 3rd, so now he's actually finally up in the town center count. Carnage continuing just to make spears. Man, what are you doing? 21 minutes in the game, and Trollercules has only made spearmen and villagers. Vahoover has made spearmen, Hypaspis, and Toxotes, and is now adding in hoplites just to tank the guard tower damage. So, really interesting. Carnage managing to make these spearmen with their 7.3 movement speed work. And once again, he's going to clean this up like a pack of Zerglings. But Vahoover catching some more of Carnage's eco out, locking him into this little corner. Carnage pretty desperate in trying to get out this fortress now, because Vahoover has actually denied so much gold over this side of the map for him. But it seems Carnage has got Vahoover split up too. Vahoover's split up too much, so Carnage has really got him on the ropes over here. There's another 55 spears, eager to take a fight against a much smaller Greek force. But there's another small Greek force inbound. Carnage falling behind in score a little bit here. Village counts, we got 85 to 60 for Hoover's way. So Carnage has definitely got more army size potential behind this, but he's also at a gathering deficit. He's throwing up a lot of buildings at the moment, so he's going to get denied on this town center. The fortress will probably go up, because I think Carnage is probably going to hold off till it's really low and then go in, because this splash fire can be very annoying to deal with a huge number of ranged units. Vahoover realizes Carnage is probably actually going to try and go for a push now, actually. So he's going to sacrifice the fortress, but the town center, it's already lost half its health. Vahoover didn't actually repair it behind this, so this isn't going to take quite that long for it to go down. And Vahoover massing up his Hypaspis, but there's just what's coming out of his production facility, so there's not really a lot there to defend. So Carnage has no gold at the moment, but he has a goldless comp. He's adding in a couple of Woad Raiders. He's finally 23 minutes in the game, and Carnage has built something other than Spearman. And he's got what's left of his Spearman here. It's actually enough to clean up that little mass of units. And Vahoover is here with a huge number of Toxotes though. So all these spears are going to go down. Vahoover needs to be careful to not throw away too much melee here, because the Woads, as beautiful as they're going to be against the Toxotes, they're going to be useless against Hypers and against Hoplites. Ooh, Vahoover leaving his army a little bit. Carnage is going to try and chip away at this town center. The heavy number of Woads is going to make this hard for Vahoover to actually stick around back here. But But Vahoover does clean up all those spearmen. So Carnage still stuck on 2 town centers and Vahoover up on 3, so interesting game for these guys. Village accounts got 83 to Vahoover, 64 to Carnage, about 20 villager pop advantage for Vahoover. It also means 20 army pop advantage for Carnage, so well, not quite. It's just going to offset the town center, really, I suppose. The Carnage needs to get that town center up. He's throwing it up now. He's finally realized, or finally remembered. But Vahoover, a nice double wall. Going to be hard for Carnage to cut through this. And Vahoover splitting off some forces to come and catch Carnage's gold gatherers. So this is one lot of them. There is another over here. And Vahoover can actually see them. So Vahoover cleaning this up, and he knows where the other set are. So he's actually put himself in a good spot where he can defend a gold mine of his own. He should really trail off some units here, because as long as he can dissuade Carnage from hitting this base, he can actually deny this gold mine with just a small number of the Toxotes. Maybe even send some of the Hypaspis from over here over. He's already denying this, so Carnage is again pretty gold starved, but is again continuing to threaten Vahoover around the map. And Vahoover walling up. Vahoover doesn't have this segment walled off though, so this could be a bit challenging for him. He's actually split his workers up to get the walls finished up as quickly as he can, so Carnage is actually forced to back off from that. And there is this little mass of units sneaking into Carnage's base, so Vahoover going to try and chip away at some of these houses as well. Force Carnage to have to keep on making macro decisions behind all this. But this army is pretty trapped here. There's that much static defense for Carnage. So Vahoover cleaned up once again, unfortunately. But Carnage has a lot of idlers, 25 idlers over here. Vahoover's going to be a little bit slow in catching them, but at the same time Carnage is throwing down. Carnage, you are playing Kelp. You can build gold mine. Noob. This is a scary army, actually. It's a lot of Woad Raiders for the Kelp player. Handful of spears thrown in as well, just for cannon fodder. And Vahoover, nice to see him paying so much attention to his base defense. He's going to deny Carnage for a little bit here. So Carnage finding an entrance into Vahoover's base, the one segment with only one strength, one ply walling. It's a bit like your toilet paper. It's only one ply, you're not going to have a good time. And Vahoover loses the town center, so Carnage gets some value out of this, but at the same time he is a little bit exposed back here at home. Vahoover getting some houses. Has the unit advantage here at the moment, I think. There just isn't a lot of Woads in amongst this. There's a lot of spearmen here, so it's a pretty deceptive army. Some Makes it a bit hard for Carnage to actually fight this, and Vahuva is going to get a lot of value out of this. 90 pop to Vahuva, Villager pop to Vahuva to 43 to Carnage. Another house of Carnages is going to go down. Carnage is going to get the surround though, so Vahuva needs to be careful because he's going to get caught in a little pincer attack and lose everything here, I think, because Carnage is a huge force. Bearing in mind, Carnage has 110 pop of army. Vahuva only has about 50 pop of army at the moment, so Vahuva throwing up a little fortress. This is a bit cheeky. But this is a good sign from Vahuva because it means that he's going to be able to put some pressure on these central gold mines. Both players are going to eventually have to look at setting up their markets, so Vahuva has. Carnage, at this stage, hasn't got any caravans, so he's going to need to continue to fight for control of these gold mines. He's, for now, going to be alright. He's got a huge army here, so like I said, he's got about 110 army pop. Vahuva is going to have about 50, about 45 at the moment actually, so things are going to look very hard for Vahuva when it comes to pushing into his opponent. He's going to have to continue to try and hit this, and in the meanwhile he's going to have to try and defend against all this, and there's not a lot of static defense here for Vahuva. There's no towers, there's no forts, there's no defensive town center here. There's just these two exposed markets once these walls go down, so Vahuva does actually have to split some of his army off to come and try and dissuade Carnage from pushing. And he has taken this gold mine off Carnage now. There is these gatherers down here still too to mess with, so I wonder if he's going to spot them. Vahuva seems to be doing everything alright at the moment. We're 30 minutes in and neither player's actually gone to age 4 yet, so pretty intense back and forth so far. Vahuva going to retreat to the inside of the walls and get a couple of woad kills as he can. Carnage is going to lose a little bit. And Vahuva found the villages, so Carnage is really getting a bit restricted in terms of where he can gather now. He's going to try and bust this central wall. Vahuva's going to try and get his units in as quickly as he can because he needs to defend this right now. But Vahuva going to pinch some houses off Carnage in the meanwhile, so this is going to be great for him. Because if Carnage can't remax this army size behind this, then he's going to start to feel a bit of hurt. He's actually going to have to get some villages and some caravans now because he's starting to really slip behind in economy. Vahuva has done a brilliant job of actually towering up this side of the map. So this is going to deny those woads immensely. And now the farms getting sniped. So a bit of a good push there from Vahuva, who in the meanwhile is trying to go for mass towers over on this other gold mine. Carnage has spotted it and he wants to clean this up. Vahuva, meanwhile, just doing some macro cleaning up at home. But this tower is only going to finish up just in time just to start putting some pressure on these villages. And Vahuva, Vahuva is going to have to decide what he wants to do right now. Does he want to greet this army while it's trying to clean up the towers, or does he want to try and push here into the fortress? So Vahuva just going for the stone gatherer, but I think it's a bit of a mistake. Really, he probably should have split two or three units off here and immediately followed Carnage up here, because right now this wall is going to go down and Vahuva needs to get there in time, but Carnage, he needs to cut through this because Vahuva's giving him a bit of an opportunity now. He hasn't really shown many gaps in this mid-game. These walls have gone up and he's really managed to keep Carnage out. So Vahuva has probably left it a bit late now. He's going to lose the walls. Like I said, he probably should have just thrown 2 or 3 Toxotes on that gold mine just to deny Carnage's villages and then just followed with the army immediately, because right now Carnage has found a gap for the first time in about 10-15 minutes, and this is not good for Vahuva. these Woads are going to be able to deal an immense amount of damage inside Vahoova's base. All the caravans get pulled. The carnage up to 51 villagers. Old man Troller finds the market and he's going to clean it up first and foremost before he worries about either of these town centres. And they're double stacked too. Age 4 double stacked town centres is actually something that's not really to be sneered at, because even with your 300 health Woad Raiders, you know, these guys will still kill them pretty quickly. And the Woads are going to come try and hit this town centre off on its own, but I think they're going to be repelled from it too. There is towers bordering on it. There is Vahoova's army here to intercept this. In the meanwhile, there is a mass of Woads and spears. I'm going to take a little fight. I do like the fact that Carnage has put in some spears just because they can tank a couple of shots. Oh, Vahoova getting a bunch of towers where Carnage's markets are going down. A little double-pronged attack here from Carnage, which is going to be real tough to deal with. But Vahoova has managed to mess with the markets of Carnage, and this is good because he's managed to mess with Carnage's gold income most of this game. But Vahoova still has the problem of a handful of Woads still inside his base. This is going to be annoying for Vahoova because I don't think he realizes Vahoova's actually coming down here to clean this up, and in the meanwhile Carnage is getting about 6 or 7 villager kills. In fact, he's going to get a bunch more than that. A bunch more villagers going to go down. In fact, he's going to get about 15 to 20 vill kills out of that. 72 vills for Vahoova to 54 to Carnage, and Vahoova was on about 90 before he started losing caravans. I think that took him to about 80. Vahoova actually is victorious in the end, because Carnage is all out of gold, I think. So really interesting game there from our two players. And we'll just go to intermission. Wow. Solid effort, guys. Let's see if our players need a minute, or if we're ready to go to game number 2. What do you guys think of that one? That was an interesting game for sure. Alright, well, you guys are going to like this map. Because we're on Oasis. And spawning as player number 2, player Cunneler number 3. Carnage is in the yellow trunks on his Celt once again. Player number 1 today, in the purple trunks. And the victor of game number 1 in this best of 3, we got Vahoova on his Greeks. So we've got Oasis here, and this is a lovely little symmetrical shape here, so thank you Recon. That looks so pretty, guys. I reckon that looks super pretty. I wish I could have rotated camera enabled so I could actually do it. I don't for some reason. I don't even know the reason. I was hoping you guys could tell me. Anyway, we've got Carnage going for the spear first. Opening. Vahoover actually going for a quicker barracks. So Vahoover's got a much quicker barracks actually. Interesting. He wants to win it more. He's hungry. I like this, Carnage. Getting a little bit of extra food out of the boar. But at the same time, his scout is dangerously low. Vahoover's spearman is going to be able to win that fight pretty quickly. And Vahoover has the quicker spearman in this case, the beefier spearman. And Carnage just trying to get Vahoover to pull back, and also to try and see if there's a dock going down. But Vahoover, yeah, already has that dock down. These two spears a little bit ahead of the other two, and this is going to cost Vahoover a little. Carnage is instantly going to dock up as soon as he pushes out with his spears, and all of them stacked. And Vahoover, good micro there from both players, but Carnage is going to lose a spear out of that. Oh no, he does save it in the end. Brings it back in. Nice micro here from these players, but Carnage winning out, I think. Vahoover's dock is already finished. Fishing ship on the way for him. Carnage is going to have to work to defend this as best he can. Vahoover's going to try and engage on the dock now. Carnage trying to go back in, but drops that spearman. Pretty much has to. So the fishing boat is out instantly, attacking the spearman as well, providing what air support it can, or naval support, sorry. So it's got a nice 8 damage. It basically hits almost as hard as one of these spearmen, and it is a little bit tankier too. So Vahoover's getting a lot of value out of that. But he is going to have to put up with Carnage double docking now. Vahoover is going to deny this dock, I think. Carnage's only got a little bit left to defend this right now. Vahoover has a second ship, but Carnage has a ship of his own. Carnage trying to focus down the spearman with his fishing boat. And the fishing ships, the dock does finish up for Carnage, but there's nothing else on the water for him at the moment. He's going to lose this fishing boat, and the spearman backs out. Vahoover has for now claimed the water. He does have these 2 docks to try and clean up though, so he is going to try and take down one of them, putting his 3 fishing boats to work immediately as well. Carnage aging up behind this. Vahoover, no aging up just yet. He's got the houses incoming, doesn't want to get housed. I think he wants to keep pumping out units as best he can. He's getting a bit low on the gold though. Carnage is probably going to try and run right past this and try and pick out this villager if he can. Vahoover, great reaction time there. Pulling the villager straight away. So Carnage getting a single hit on the villager. But Vahoover saves it. Snipes, gets one of the spearmen in return. Gets the dock. Carnage down to a single dock. But forced to get the second barracks in a fairly aggressive position. It does get scouted. Vahoover's even got his villager swinging away. Vahoover needs to be careful to not lose this though. He does have these fishing ships here to take the fight, which he is going to bring forward as well. Carnage is in a bit of a pickle right now, but Vahoover seemingly has enough to defend here. He's got all these fishing ships, he's got all these spears. The double barracks for Carnage hasn't kicked in just yet. In fact, it's not even being finished off. Carnage isn't finishing off that second barracks. He only just realised, I think. And Vahoover is going to take the dock. He does have a warship to have to contend against now. He's got 3 fishing ships to keep alive amongst all this, and Carnage is throwing down another dock. This is crazy stuff. Vahoover throwing down a dock of his own. He's brought a bunch of villagers in along to come and deal some damage. There is a long swordsman here. Age 2 hasn't kicked in for the Greek players, so Vahoover at a bit of a land disadvantage, at a bit of a water disadvantage. Carnage already has that swan ship out, so brilliant play here from him. And these villagers, oh, Vahoover manages to dodge that fire there. But these fishing ships are going to go down quite quickly. There is the double dock, so the double trireme production is possible if Vahoover can get the wood for it. He has a lot of gold in the bank and not enough wood. Bit bold on this double dock, considering there's nothing to really back it up, but there can be enough for a trireme in just a sec. There we go, so Vahoover has the trireme out of the other dock on the way already. So these units are going to get deleted pretty quickly. But they are also going to be able to help the the swan ship take down the trireme. It's a bit more of an even fight now for the players. Carnage actually bringing in the fishing boat to try and heal this. Thank you for the follow. The trireme of Vahoover's other dock popping out. He may be able to pick this off Carnage, and it'd be a big blow to Carnage because he's going to need to get another one in tow. The double trireme production really helping Vahoover behind this, but Carnage is focusing the units rather than the ships, so interesting fight going on right now. Ooh, Carnage does lose the swan ship. Has a single one out on the water right now, but Vahoover has 3 on the water at the moment. So Vahoover actually in a fairly dominant lead on the water right now, but Carnage has the Age 2 town centre on the way. Carnage is going to have to make things work as best he can here, get as many kills as he can out of this swan ship before it goes down. So he's getting the kills. Didn't get the Hypaspis in the end, but got a lot of value out of that. But Vahoover in a really dominant position now. He's got, having committed to the double dock is a bit of a struggle in a sense, but at the same time, double fishing ship production, he'll be able to get that gathering boost out immediately. Carnage's town centre is going to finish up a little bit quicker than... Oh, Vahoover's actually got 9 villagers on his. Carnage has only got the 5, so Vahoover is going to mostly catch up in terms of his villager production there. I mean, in terms of that town centre finish time there, so he's only going to be marginally behind on that. Only lost 2 villagers in all this, and he's going to have the fishing boats production. So Vahoover looking really solid. Carnage going for triple range behind this, so if Vahoover goes for mass Hypaspis, he might be able to make this work. He's going to have to need to play that sort of style, and I don't think that's how he's used to playing. He's the sort of player who does like to have a nice mixed army comp. So, but in saying that, that's a lot of rangers going out for Carnage. Up to 3 of those already in anticipation. Only on the 2 barrackses. Vahoover, considering how much food he's about to get with this water, might be best off just going up to 4 or 5 barrackses and shoving hard into the Kelp base before any towers can go up. Another range and an armory coming out for the Kelp player. So yeah, I think Vahoover is definitely best off adding a couple of barrackses and then just massing up and shoving straight into the Kelp player before there's room for any towers to go up, for more barrackses to go down. Vahoover has the advantage and needs to press it right now, but in saying that, Carnage has definitely got a fighting chance here. He's not come off too badly. He did get the slightly faster Age 2 town centre timing. He's forced Vahuva to have to commit to these warships, to the double dock. And I think he was up by about 3 or 4 villages. There is a marker coming out now from Carnage as well, so he... Oh, there is one from Vahuva. So Vahuva and Carnage both going for quite early markets. Neither of them in the ideal... Oh, Carnage's is actually pretty straight. Vahuva's is a bit wonky. And remember guys, the wonkier it is, the more time you're introducing into it, the more inefficient you're making it, the more you're going to have to make your caravans work to get the same amount of gold. So, and last time these guys played against one another in the game number 2, Vahuva's caravan line was pretty much the only thing that let him down. So Carnage's going for a hefty number of slingers. Vahuva really needs to go for a heavy number of Hyparspists, I think. He's adding in these ranges, but I'm not sure if that's the best situation. He's added in 2 more ranges after the barracks, and before he's added another barracks. And I think he even saw Carnage throw down, whoops. Vahuva even saw all these go down, so he's going to be making a bit of a mistake by going so Toxotes heavy, I think. Because, yeah, truth be told, with that water advantage, you pretty much should be able to just macro up an H2 unit advantage and just push to win. But you've got to get the unit, you've got to get your unit composition right, and if you don't, you can actually lose the game from there. And Vahuva needs to be careful to not get too many Toxotes, and the Celt is just going to mass up all these slingers. There's already 20 slingers out here from Carnage, and he's making no sign of slowing down. Vahuva getting conditioning, getting more Hyparspis. Carnage sending a single longsword into harass. Quite smart. Because truth be told, you just send it in as a bit of a scout, and then if you see an opportunity to attack some villages and deny some gathering time, then you take it. So Vahuva pretty much just sitting on the water at the moment, walling up his market, trying to push into Carnage without his Toxotes just to snipe the barracks, and he isn't gonna be able to get it. So I think that was a bit of a waste there from Vahuva, a little bit of a misplay, because without a lot of Hyparspis, he's gonna have nothing but Toxotes to take the next fight, which is not where he wants to be. Carnage already getting his Age 3 on the way, so Vahuva is gonna have that opportunity to push in Age 2, disappear before his very eyes. And Carnage is just gonna be able to get his bowmen out, be able to get his Woad Raiders out in his Age 3. It can be very scary to deal with as the Greek player.
Ahura Mazda bless you.
Thank you for the follow. And guys, I think that might bring us to 800 followers, so someone want to just double check that quick? But if we are, congrats and thank you. Bit of a engage going on here, but Vahuva, 20 bowmen, and there's 40 slingers here for Carnage, so perhaps, like I'm saying, a bit too range slanted from Vahuva, considering he's got the unit that's not counter range in this situation. So Carnage gonna have a huge slinger death ball that's gonna be impossible for the Vahuva to deal with, and it's gonna be enough to even kill the front line. So Vahuva really needed to get Hyparspis and Sari more than Hyparspis Toxotes, because Hyparspis Sari would probably be able to just tidy up this Celt, you know, had he had it there in one of these earlier fights. And now there's bowmen out too, so he's not even going to want to have the Hyparspis. Vahuva needs Age 3, he's got it on the way. Just about finished. And in order to deal with these guys, he's probably going to have to get some Saris either way, because even Hoplites, he's not really going to want to march them into the bowmen, because the Celt player can always introduce longswordsmen again, or get some Woad Raiders, and the Woad Raiders have their charge attack. You know, and charge attacks mean that you can basically just front load a whole bunch of damage and back out of the fight, and cost effectively trade against your counters or against, you know, units you should trade evenly with. So they're always a really valuable resource in the field, units with their charge attacks. And this 18 health druid, keeping the army healed, keeping them damage boosted. What are you doing, man? Oh, nothing much, just boosting, bro. Just boosting. But not a lot of food left here on the water for Vahoover, so this advantage for him is starting to run dry. And he's really started to slip in terms of his score now, so I think Carnage, the beast, has been unleashed this game. Despite the economic disadvantage, Carnage has managed to stay in this one. And Vahoover, I think he really just made a bit of a compositional error in going with the Toxotes, because I mean, this composition is just mass ranged and a single druid. Like, you could literally make 2/3 of that unit count in Saris and kill this entire composition without losing a single unit, and also be able to hit and run everywhere in the Celt space. But because Vahoover is, oh nah man, I'm gonna be bold, and I'm gonna be brave, and I'm gonna be a good guy, Greg, and I'm not gonna just play one of those meme harass you to death cavalry civs like Ardashir does, and I'm actually gonna have a fight with you. So Carnage has a nice composition for this fight, like I said, and Vahoover might be able to clean this up. Oh, he has enough. He has a couple of Peltas in the mix here. This Druid though is going to put in a lot of work. So Carnage, that little composition there, able to clean things up behind enemy lines, but at the same time Vahoover is also behind enemy lines right now. So Vahoover trying to get a little bit more value. Carnage is down to 81 villages, but Vahoover's only at 78 behind this, and Vahoover is out of food, trying to clean up this little force of slingers and bowmen inside Carnage's inside his base. Carnage got a lot of value out of that little mass mixed range army with a single druid. I do have to give him credit for that single druid. That's just like 10 population value out of 1, bro. And Carnage once again getting as much value as he can out of every single ranged unit. But Vahoover, he's added Peltas, he's added Saris, he's got maximum anti-range engage. That looks terrible, doesn't it? It's also stuttery. I don't know why it's stuttery. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, Vahoover has deleted or lost his warships. He might have just lost them actually, rather than deleted them. And Carnage, big wall of horsemen here. There's no spearmen, no Prodromos to be able to fight the horsemen. Single Sari is a bit brave in trying to take that fight. So there is some Prodromos in the mix here, but the horsemen outnumbering them, so Carnage is able to take a bit of a fight with a large number of Vahoover's units there before backing out, and still having this army chase him around the map. So Carnage trying to snipe a little bit more and put himself in position to catch something of Vahoover's, and he might just do that right now. There's a lot of workers here, 21, doing absolutely nothing but chopping wood. Completely exposed. A million miles away from anything else. Carnage is gonna... Oh, I don't think Carnage realizes they're there, and Verhoover knows that the bowmen are there. So Verhoover's actually spotted this. He's gonna send his mixed cavalry army to clean this up. Neither player really being heavy on the walls. Verhoover's got a little bit over this side of his base. Carnage hates walling, and I've got to doff my hat to him for it because wall's stupid, man. Oh, just as I spoke, Verhoover's walling. Boring. Verhoover does clean up that little army of Carnages. And now this ball of Carp champs. Carnage has managed to get age 4 behind this. His eco has been absolutely stellar this game. 89 works for him. 75 for Verhoover. And the Carp champs, ooh, perhaps have overstayed their welcome. They're going to have to back out of this one. Now these guys actually do have area damage. And there's a bunch more of them joining the field. So these guys are pretty tanky, but there are pelters here. And there are... well, there's not really any... there is a couple of Saris, but not a lot. Mostly Prodromos in that force there for Verhoover. And so Carnage is pretty much eliminated Verhoover's backline there. There's pretty much only the cavalry army left of Verhoover's. Carnage is maxed out now, and Verhoover is down by about 50 pop. 81 workers to 89, so Verhoover's eco is pretty good behind this, but he's just losing a lot of these cavalry units, not getting a lot of Carnage's army in response for this. So he's pretty much going mass Sarasophroi, and he's going to be down on... oh no, Carnage hasn't got any age 4 upgrades yet, so it's alright on that front, but in saying that, Verhoover needs something else to deal with this mass of Carpentums, because he just hasn't got something to trade head on into them cost effectively right now. And Carnage is completely exposed in his base. The Prodromos and the Saris are faster than the Carpentums, so truth be told, Verhoover probably should just try and hit this market line. Because I don't know if he can actually afford to take this fight. There's a huge number of Saris here though, and I think they are a little bit cheaper than the Carpentums. They do take 1 population slot less too. But I don't know if Verhoover can afford to keep this up. Carnage can. Verhoover, not so much. Verhoover's down to only 100 food. 300 gold behind this. And Verhoover, yeah, he's down by an age as well. So he loses everything once again in that little trade. He's really probably best off trying to take advantage of the fact that he's got the faster units, try and hit this market. And he taps out. GG. So that brings us to 1-all. Are you guys as excited for game 3 as I am? Man, that's nuts. Game 3. Well done so far, Verhoover. Yeah, I think Verhoover really was probably best off hitting that market there, because Carnage, once he got on that masked army, it's just, there's no way to cost effectively fight that and age down on Saris. I'll be back in just a minute. Sorry, I got stoned and forgot we were playing a show match. Nah, just kidding. We've got Carnage versus Vahoover. And this one, it's going to be an epic one, guys, because we've got Carnage spawning here. Player number 1 in this one, actually. Player color number 3, yellow, and he's Celt. And player number 2, he's Greek. He's player color number 4, purple. He's Vahoover. And both of these guys have won a game in this best of 3. So we're at match point now. And be interested to see how this one goes. Vahoover's going to go for the quick dock. Looks like Carnage is as well. So Oasis and Watering Hole, because their sizes have completely different play styles. Both players opting to go for the dock first rather than the barracks first on this matchup. So Carnage seeing Vahoover's, and has Vahoover. He has seen Carnage's, so everyone knows what everyone's doing today. I know what they're both doing. You know what they're both doing. They know what they're both doing. Vahoover's dropped a villager for about a quarter of a second there. That was terrible, terrible play, man. You are out. Disqualified. Nah, just kidding. Been playing so well. I'm proud of Vahoover, man. Brings a tear to my eye watching Vahoover play. I mean, just look at him, man. Just look at him, man. Look at this high level play. I bet he even clicked that, even though he was looking over here. Yeah, guys, that's another little tip. If you click on the enemy scout, you're going to get that extra little shot off, get that little bit of extra damage. Works for any unit, actually. So whenever you've got static defense, always make sure to click on stuff if it's got legs, because if it runs away, you'll be able to hit it for an extra 1 distance further. Little secret, I told you. Carnage told me, actually. Carnage going for a second dock. That tree will be the death of him. I actually held him up for like 3 seconds there, where he actually decided, oh, I can't put it up here, I've got to put it down here. But he's going to go for the gold mine already, so he wants to go for the warships. Going to waste 4 food. Actually, no, does that deposit? It doesn't when you build, does it? Not in this one. No easy mode in this RTS. So, Carnage already up to a bunch of ships. Vahoover cutting at 1. Already gathering some gold. And his H2 is already on the way. So Vahoover going for the fast warship build. Carnage going for a delayed warship build. Vahoover's is going to be out immediately. He's already got a fishing ship on the water there to repair it if he needs to, and to gather some food. So Vahoover's opening is going to be a lot more aggressive than Carnage's here. Carnage is going to have to basically run away with ships until he gets the double warship production kicking in. He's going to afford it, but Vahoover in the meanwhile is going to be able to have 2 triremes already. Going for the second dock a little bit later. I do like Vahoover's build a little bit more, considering Carnage already dedicated himself to 3 fishing ships. I mean, he's Celt, so he wants a lot of food, but he's already had invested that wood in that food, so he's perhaps behind a tad because of that. So, Vahoover, in closing, Carnage has just hit Bronze Age, but that's all Vahoover needs to know. He's got the time to get these kills, so he's going to come straight on these docks. 1 fishing ship at a time. Try and focus it down. If he can, try and stack up and gauge the micro. He's managed to land all the hits so far, so he's doing well. Carnage is trying to repair it. Does he have a second warship on the way? No, he doesn't just yet. But Carnage is going to be able to repair through this. Vahoover needs to get the other triremes out. I thought he had a second trireme. There it is. It's finally coming in. So Carnage actually managing to repair his way through all that. I think Vahoover was a bit late with getting that second trireme out. I'm pretty sure it was just out and just sitting here for a lot of that time, which is perhaps a bit bad because he probably could have sniped one of those fishing ships, or maybe even did a bit of damage to the second, and he needs to repair this trireme if he wants to take this fight. Carnage in the meanwhile needs to repair this 1 ship, but he's going to go, oh no, No, he's not. He's gonna ignore that. Why won't they listen to me, man? Far out, man. They just don't care, man. So no land production, no H2 town center. None of that airy-fairy nonsense. We've just got mass water play. Behoova gonna try and snipe the fishing ships. Picking off one of them. But this trireme... Oh, it does dodge most of that. It's not gonna make it out though. So Behoova down by a warship now. And really only chipping away at one of the fishing ships that Carnage already had an extra over him. So Carnage in a much nicer spot now over his Celt opponent. Both players trying to dodge what shots they can. So we're down to 3 warships versus 2. And neither player is really able to maintain this double warship production. This famed double warship production that they speak so fondly of. Some nice mechanics there from our plates. Oh! Behoova with the splits. Dodges pretty much every shot there. I think he's... Oh! No! Please! No lag. Now, you've just got to take your hats off to these guys for microing in 400 ping because I'm in this lobby. Behoova is going to get that villager out. Oh, but the warship goes down. So Carnage now has a 2 warship lead. The villager is going to come in to try and repair, but it's a little bit too late now. Acting as a bit of a bait, but it's not enough. Carnage snipes it. And now there's no water production for Behoova. There's nothing going on the water for him at the moment. He's desperately trying to scout his opponent. The Carnage has secured this water. Why is it so laggy? That's a lot of ships there for Carnage, so he did commit to a few more than Behoova in the end too. He has managed to secure this water, and a lot of that score is to do with the fact that he has so many more ships than Behoova. He doesn't really have much more in the way on the land. The H2 town centers pretty much the same time, so Behoova not really fallen behind at all yet. But the longer this gathering goes on, the more he will. Carnage is splitting up the warships just to make sure Behoova isn't going to take a spot on the water. There's already double stables production here from Behoova and an academy. Bard Hall and mass barracks. So Behoova probably wanting to go for the Prodromos. Carnage, I think, probably is going to want to go to Wodes pretty quickly here as well, so he does have the resources now to... Oh, Carnage is actually throwing up a lot of spearmen. Only got him producing out of the 1 barracks for the time being, so he's just waiting for that 3rd one to kick in. So a bunch more spears up in queue for Carnage, so we're going to have spearmen versus Prodromos perhaps. Another stables for Behoova going down. So Behoova obviously wanting to make use of the Greek mobility in their stables, because that's going to be the fastest units available today, but the Woad Raiders do take a close second. 3rd town centre for Behoova going down. I do like this positioning of them because basically if Carnage pushes into either of these spots, he's going to take 5 from 2 town centres, so he's really forced to have to try and hit Verhoover from here, and there is this tree line in the way as well, so it's make it hard to say set up siege coming into the late game around it. But Verhoover way down on score at the moment, so Carnage now is really starting to pull ahead on the water economy. He's already up to 6 fishing ships. Got another dock in preparation for when some of these schools of fish run out. Double armory production incoming for Carnage, and he's up to 4 with a 5th on the way of his barracks, but there is up to 5 stables now from Verhoover. Hunting dogs coming out for Verhoover. I'm surprised he hasn't got this till now, actually, because the earlier you can get it, the more value you can get out of it. And he's got so many villagers on that hunt. Like, truth be told, as he was throwing down that 3rd town center, he probably should have had it in queue as well. Really low scout, and he's only just adding in the ointment tech now. But it's going to be useful because it's going to mean that he's going to be able to gauge when the towers come up from Carnage, when the fortress comes up from Carnage, if it does, and, you know, if it does, where it is, so he can actually negotiate his Prodromos and Saris raids around it, because he's going to need to. He's a little bit far behind with that water disparity. Carnage going for the spears. Verhoover, well-placed watchtower though, so he's going to get a good read of this. The Prodromos backing out. They're going to try and perhaps hit from the other side, if Carnage is going to hit from this side. Because these guys hit really hard against the Greek cavalry. The Carnage just backing off now. He doesn't want to actually assault Verhoover with such a small army. Range is being added in by Verhoover. Call of the Boar incoming for Carnage, so the spear is going to get that little bit more tanky. Another 5%. Verhoover is within striking distance of these markets though. Has he actually seen them? Yeah, of course he has. He's got that watch post there. Don't know why he's not just charging straight in on this. Unless he's worried that Carnage has some units just outside his base. So Verhoover engaging now. Oh, he's waited right till the market's just about finished up, and it's going to get him the most value out of the kill, but he's going to be forced off this. So Prodromos running straight past the spears. But Carnage now is using the gold mines. With the bigger map, I think in Carnage's mind, on the small maps, it's perhaps not so much worth it because you can just run the villagers back to the safety of your base. But on these bigger maps, even Carnage is opting for a gold mine. He's cleaned up that watch post. So Scale Mail going to kick in for Verhoover. Very nice tech to have against Celt in particular. Celt and Norse in particular, because of their melee bias, the civs. Big massive Prodromos. Once Verhoover gets a good number like this, they're going to be just as dangerous as like a massive Woad Raiders when it comes to taking down structures and things like that. Which has got the higher base damage? In fact, the Prodromos have a really high base damage. 25, so... Well, with their upgrades. 24. Base damage of 20, sorry. So these guys are going to be slightly faster than the Woad Raiders. But Vahoova's got himself caught into a bit of a corner here. So he's going to lose some of the Prodromos for free there. Going to try and snipe one of the houses, but having to back off. So Vahoova still just trying to find himself a bit of space. Carnage still chasing him, but in the meanwhile Vahoova sends some Sarasophroi in. And chip away at some of these caravans. So that's quite smart for him to do. Prodromo's still just running around. Actually going to stop and check out some of these fishing ships. Carnage having to deal with some of Vahoova's harass now, so this is quite nice from him. But Carnage is throwing up a lot of watch posts around the map. And he's cleaned up that Prodromo's push. Vahoova's actually managed to catch up slightly and score. I think the water, as we go on, the water's going to prove to be less of resource to Carnage, because you're going to have to continue throwing down docks or eating the increased travel time as well. So there is that investment that you've got to keep making with the water. While it's super efficient when you first get it, yeah, you do have to keep spending a little bit on it, or it does start to really degrade in its value. The Carnage now is looking really scary. Vahoova's only on 135 pop, has a huge number of upgrades in the queue at the moment. But Carnage is really applying the pressure now. Single Woad Raider chipping away at the villagers while the rest of them take this fight, so that's ideal. The least amount of units drawn out of his army, and he's still getting some harass value behind this, and now he's just going to clean up these villagers who Vahoova's only just now moving away, and he's already lost 2 of them to that single Woad that was chipping away at them, so it was really, really nice harass there from Carnage. And again, Carnage relentless with the mass Woads now that he's in the age 3. He's got just enough spears to defend at home, and that's all he really needs in terms of that. And other than that, he's just pushing up with these Woads. So the Greek player in a bit of a bind, having to get Hypaspis, having to get Toxotes, but at the same time having to keep the Toxotes count really low, just in order to deal with these Woad Raiders. And the Woads, with their hit and run, able to snipe a couple of houses. Vahoova doesn't have a huge amount here to defend against this. There's Peltus in the mix for him. So this is sort of the worst unit you can be fielding against the Woads. They're not going to have any bonus damage like the Toxotes will. They're going to still be countered hard by them in terms of the damage the Woads are going to deal to you. So a tiny number of Toxotes with Hypaspis and more of your cavalry is probably the way to go as the Greek, just to be able to clean that up. And you need to also have a good number of cavalry to have, you know, to present yourself with your own raiding opportunities, because Carnage is going to continue to establish map control over Vahoova on this. He's already pushed up to the midway here with that fortress. He's already nearly there with this market line and with these watch posts here. He's going to go for a fortress here, so Carnage taking up 2/3 of the map now, so this is really going to start to get tough for Vahoova. He's going to start to run out of resources here. He's going to have to look at having a market line somewhere that's going to be in a dangerous spot for him. Wow, there's 25 villages, but there's soon to be, well, no villages very shortly. So 20 villages going down there for Vahoova. He's down to 80, but he's still only 10 behind Carnage. He was 10 ahead there. So his land economy was actually pretty big, pretty boomed behind all this. And he is going to try and assault Carnage. over here on the right before Carnage can establish a foothold. He's perhaps a little bit late with cleaning up this fortress though, because there are some Woad Raiders coming in to clean up as well. There are Hypaspis to fight the Woads. The fortress isn't going to last much. Oh, the fortress actually has villagers stacked up repairing it, so the Hoover has put himself in a tough spot. Half of these Woad Raiders aren't, I mean half the Hypaspis aren't fighting the Woad Raiders, so they're not dealing the damage to actually cut down the fortress. They're not killing any of the villagers that are repairing it. Carnage is going to be able to back this up, and Vahoover's got a bunch of villagers coming in to try and get on this gold mine, because I think he thought he had enough to defend this, but he just doesn't at the moment. He's going to lose all these villagers for free, and over on this side on the left he's got these Hypaspis just idling at the moment. So right now Vahoover's really been caught out, and he taps out. GG. Well played. What a series, guys. I'm going to go for a quick smoke, and then I'm going to play one against Carnage, and I'm going to get bopped. But it's going to be fun. Sorry, I'm just resetting the scores, because oh, actually, I don't have to worry about that. I don't actually have to worry about all that today. Yeah, I'll just leave this for a sec. What am I doing? I'm going to be first person cast. Yeah, streaming it. So anyway, that's the best of 3 result for that. I'll update this over here on the right. Alright guys, just give me a minute. I'm going to organise this game with Carnage. Get these scores sorted. It'll just be a minute or two. Alright guys, so it looks like it's Celt versus Norse for game number 1. Me versus Carnage. Bit nervous. Oh, he didn't want to pay this tile set. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I just gotta switch back. So that's game number 1 to me. Nah, just kidding. Let's get this show on the road. So yeah, game number 1 to me. This Carnage tapped out like a pussy. Whoa. Holy wildwoods.
Zara, Zara, Zara.
Ara.
Here.
Orga.
Zara.
Actually,
Zara. Zara. Zara.
Orga. J. Yeah.
Oh, what am I doing? The fuck is she doing? Actually,
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Jail, God. Da.
I even put my third turn on. What the fuck? Oh, it's right there.
Jail. Jack. Wrong.
Well, that's game number 1. I have the EK to defend behind that. I walled his market though, so I'm happy about that. I walled his market. Oops, wrong stream. Wrong stream, Sean. Okay. I got 2 use. Oh no! Wrong score. Give myself the win credit. Carnage takes game number 1. Good game, well played to him. What am I gonna play now? Egypt. I like Egypt. Have fun. That'll be a couple of minutes. Alright, Looks like we're going to have Egypt versus Norse, something a little bit different. It's too good for me, Carnage.
Huh?
Everything seems to be in order. Yep. Oops, we should have transferred that way.
Shoot. Ar. Ro. Ar. Sai.
Far out.
Ai.
Shoot. Sai.
Oh, bugger off, chat. Not you guys actually in chat, you know.
Ar. Hayet.
Ai.
Shoot.
Top. Top.
Shoot. Me.
Here. Top.
Me. Aru. Ar.
What the fuck? Just finish the bloody thing, would you?
Mean. Monster. Sai.
Reba.
Sai.
Ichi.
Eva. Rahal. Monster. Ro.
Oh shit. Actually select everything.
On. Ruge.
Tranquilo. Scotty.
Sai.
Scotty. Tranquilo. Tranquilo.
Ro. Monster.
Tranquilo.
Monster.
Tranquilo. Tranquilo.
Mean. Mean.
Huh?
Tranquilo. Eh? Scotty. Scotty. Tranquilo. Tranquilo.
Rahal.
Eh? Tranquilo. Tranquilo.
Rahal. Two.
Scotty. Scotty. Eh? Scotty. Come on. Tranquilo. Tranquilo.
Monster. Monster.
Here. Stop. Scotty. 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 Tranquilo.
Here. Big.
Stop. Eh?
Rahal. Yeah, big.
Tranquilo.
Rahal.
Tranquilo. Tranquilo.
Mean. Ro. Monster. Aye.
Sai.
Ro. Ro. Eva.
Rahal. Oh.
Elbu.
Rahal. Sai. Rahal.
Monster.
Tranquilo.
Roll. Roll. Raha. Terba. Sai.
Oh shit.
Scotty.
Oh, I'll just take everything. Bugger it.
Scotty.
On the units. Let's go. Bugger it. Let's go.
Bill. Bill da. Bill da.
Deal.
What's this?
Aua.
Scotty. Rocky. Scotty. Bill.
Rule.
Scotty. Yeah. Scotty. Come on, Rocky.
Me. Ru. Muaska. Muaska. Ru. Me. Muaska.
Rocky.
Rule.
Scotty. Da.
Aua.
Yeba.
Scotty. Da. Rocky.
I've got armory somewhere, don't I? Surely.
Bill.
Ru.
Rocky.
Me.
Rahal.
Hey.
Rahal.
Oh my goodness.
Ramin.
Aua. Rule.
Got it.
Hey, Iowa.
Rule. Rule.
Sure.
Ragil. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. Ru. House. Ru. Me. Me. Rahal. Cat. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Ragil.
Iowa.
Me. Moscow. Shoo. Cat. Moscow. Me.
Iowa.
Alright, GG to Carnage. And I think I'll catch you guys later. It's getting a bit late here. But thanks for watching. And we'll bring you some games next weekend as well. Cheers, guys.